This is the ongoing history of protest songs. Clap your hands and sing along. So I'm CJ Baker. It was just brought to my attention that Rolling Stone just published a list of the 25 best anti-Trump protest songs. So I figured it'd be good to do a live response video. And it's actually going to be the second time I do YouTube live. Yesterday, for the first time, I started a massive over 800 artists tier list, but it was a bit ambitious, so I didn't quite finish it. So I'm going to go back to that with the live. But I figured with having the website ongoing history of protest music, I did want to respond to this. But within the next few days, we'll probably go back to doing the tier list. So let's do the share screen. So we'll get into this. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to re-scroll through this yet. One thing I will note when it was first brought to my attention, I thought this was like recent. It looks like it was actually published in back the a new list, but it is new for me. So I just scroll down on my website, probably back around 2018. I did actually publish a list of songs about Donald Trump. I probably have to go back and take that list and expand it, especially in connection with what's published here. Okay, so it's the first one, 2025, Eminem, campaign speech. Off the top of my head, I don't know if you heard that song. I do remember Eminem, I think it was the BETs. He did like, I guess they call it like a Trump rap, which I know got, so I probably would have been inclined to maybe include that. But yeah, Eminem definitely has been pretty vocal about Trump, about politics when Bush was the president, and he has had a couple of anti-Bush songs. Okay, Joe Biafra, Nazi Trump's fudge off, but not fudge. So yeah, that's obviously a remake, yeah, of the 1981 song by the Dead Kennedys. Nazi punks, fudge off, but not fudge. Nazi punks, Nazi punks, Nazi punks, fudge off. So yeah, that's how we work in of a song, which I don't necessarily have a problem with, but it's probably been enough anti-Trump songs written during the since like 2016 that they probably don't need to include reworkings. They probably could have done a list of all original tunes. See what we got next. And Will made it black, which is a reworking of Ray Sturman's Black Beatles. I don't even know if that's considered exactly anti Trump. Oh yeah, there's a lot about Donald Trump in the song, which is kind of, I guess, ironic now because Nicki Minaj has since gone full mega. Uh, Lil Connie living in the USA, which I have featured on my website, shameless plug. It doesn't mention Trump directly by name, but it was definitely written in response to that. He initially first recorded an acoustic version of it in 2025, but then he reworked it as a full band version in 2026. Well, I guess the band reworked it, but it was basically the band's constant memo is Adam Reno. And a lot of it actually came from the fact that they were scheduled to play the Kennedy Center, but that had to, canceled because of the politics involved in that. But yeah, he actually just released like that song's the title track of a new album that he released. That's basically an album of protest songs. But yeah, it's a solid tune. See where we at next. Yeah, Cloud of Eight, solid tune by Supercharged. And even What a Time to Be Alive is kind of like a protest album that was basically very much written in response of what was going on at the time. So yeah, no issues there. K the Crew, Pimps, freestyling at 4500 Club. So yeah, this obviously was before Trump was elected. But there's a line about Trump in there. Yeah, I mentioned the lyric in the song. I'm Donald Trump. And he thinks you might have heard about me. How me last wife, Ivana, come and catch me money. But yeah, at the time, even the fact that this song kind of criticized Trump a bit was unique at the time because basically this whole song was criticizing kind of rich elitists. But during that time, Trump was still kind of being celebrated by rappers because of his, like as I mentioned here, his rich, boisterous personality. So the fact that he's one of the few to actually criticize Trump, but he was obviously criticizing billionaires in general, because Bootsy Collins is very left-leaning. So yeah, it's an anti-Trump song that was kind of written, not really pre-Trump because he still existed and he still protested. It was before he ran for office. Okay, Marco Price over Rube, which is actually a cover of Blaze. Yeah, they mentioned that here. So the song was originally written by Ronald Reagan, and it doesn't mention anyone by name. But obviously, the context of Margot Price recording it and the video, because the video basically she released includes, as I mentioned here, unflattering Trump imagery. So even though it wasn't written directly about Trump, it does apply as a Trump protest song, and you can obviously repurpose it that way. So let's see. Okay, clipping chapter 319, released in 2020. They also had another song, I think it was 2016 before Trump got elected. Clipping released a song, I think it was called Fat Fingers. And I think I included it on my list on my website, which was basically part of a project that was released to almost encourage people not to vote for Trump, which obviously didn't work out. But yeah, I do like Clipping. Don't have a huge issue with the song here. And yeah, there's a redirect line in that song. Donald Trump is a white supremacist, full stop. Doesn't get much clearer than that. Okay, Billy Bragg, City of Heroes, which I did feature on my website. I don't think it directly mentioned Trump by name, but it's obviously anti-Trump, even though it's more of an anti-ICE song. But that's an extension of Trump and his administration. Let's see what we got here. Nobody Speak, released in 2016. Okay, there is a line about Donald Trump in that song, Flame Your Crew quicker than Trump, of his youngins. So it's even taking stabs at the fact that Trump is a pedophile. And even then, there was allegations about that, which became even more widespread. All songs that are more blatantly anti-Trump than that one, I don't have a big problem. And I do love Run the Jewels. Anderson .Paak, Six Summers, released in 2018. I mean, there's a line in the Trump song, it looks like there. Yeah, and there's also some other lines in the song there. And Anderson .Paak does have a couple of other protest songs. There's another one that I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. I think he released in 2020. Don't know why I can't think about it. But yeah, don't have a huge issue there. Oops. Keep scrolling down here. Oh yeah, Citizen Ice, Dropkick Murphys. But you'll be working the song Citizen CIA. I have featured that on my website. But yeah, this is a song they re-recorded in tribute to Renee Good. And it's more of an anti-ICE song, but of course, by extension, it's a protest of the Trump administration. But as I mentioned before, with the other reworking of the Joe Biafra there, the Nazi punks, fuck off. Um, I think there's enough direct original anti-Trump songs. They probably didn't need to include reworkings. Okay, let's see what we got here. Paul Metza and Alan Spearhawk, No Kings, No Crowd. This is the first song came up that off the top of my head. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with this song, so I'm gonna have to check it out. Okay, L7, Dispatch from Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, and L7 are kind of grunge punk pioneers, as they mentioned here. Trying to think if I think I have heard that song. Not sure if I ever actually featured on the website. I said I do need to update my list. Um, Amy Band, Can't You Tell? The ones, I think I mentioned that project before, except I didn't say the name of it. 30 Days, 30 Songs. So this was while Trump was still running for president before he was elected. And as mentioned, that didn't quite work out. So there was a few anti-Trump protest songs in connection with that project. Yeah, I don't have a huge issue with that song. Okay, Pussy Riot, Make America Great Again, which was also just prior to Trump being elected. And I did feature this on my website. I know I featured it on the list I posted that I need to update. And then, of course, Pussy Riot, very explicitly political. They have a few anti-Trump songs, but obviously a lot of Vladimir Putin protest songs. Yeah, this is the recent one I featured on my website. Tom Waits, A Massive Attack, Boots on the Ground. So yeah, anti-Trump, definitely anti-ICE. Don't have an issue. And I also featured this on my website, Ongoing History of Protest Songs. Shameless plug. I included it on my list of the 25 best protest songs of 2026 so far. So both in article and video form. So you could check that out. Okay, Jesse Wells. Jesse Wells would have a few satirical songs that could be included. And he regularly posts his protest songs, and a lot of them will qualify as anti-Trump protest songs. Because I mentioned Join ICE here as an example, which is an anti-ICE song. But yeah, No Kings would qualify. There's also a version of it that he recorded that included Joan Baez singing with him, which, yeah, it doesn't mention that in here, it doesn't look like. But yeah. But yeah, the fact that there's at least one Jesse Wells song, don't have an issue. Downtown Boys, don't have an issue with that. I have featured that on my website. And Downtown Boys have recently released new a new album as well. Okay, Public Enemy featuring DJ Premier definitely belongs on the list. State of the Union, shut the fudge up, fuck up, fudge up, not fudge, but fudge. But yeah, that song definitely a hard-hitting protest song that deserves to be on the list. Let's see. Okay, Entrance. I did feature this one on my website as well. Not gonna say your name. So this happened, the song was recorded just shortly after Trump was elected. No issue there. Yeah, Neil Young and the Chrome Hearts, Big Crime. Yeah, I don't have a big issue with that. Even though it's probably stronger anti-Trump protest songs. Neil Young has written a couple about, and he's been very critical about Donald Trump. See Fiona Apple, Tiny Hands. I believe I featured that on my website. Don't have a huge issue there. Okay, Bruce Springsteen, Streets of Minneapolis. I featured that on my website and was included on my list of best protest songs of 2026 so far. And I also have a list of Bruce Springsteen protest songs on my website. Oh, continue scrolling down here. Okay, this is a clear number one. FDT. You know what the F means? Fudge Donald Trump. Not fudge Donald Trump. So yeah, that's clearly should be number one. And I think I included this song even on my list of like the all-time best protest songs of all time. So yeah, that's the list there. We'll stop sharing. Oh, let's get back in here. So yeah, that's the list there. So yeah, most of the songs I want to say have a huge issue. I probably would have included exclusively songs that were not reworkings of previous songs. What other tunes would I have maybe included? One I probably would have considered included. Woody Guthrie actually wrote a poem called. I mean, there's a few different titles, but quite often it was referred to as Old Man Trump about Donald Trump's father, Fred Trump. And since 2016, that's kind of when the lyrics were discovered. A few different artists have turned those lyrics into a song. Like, for example, one of the notable versions was by an anti-folk artist, Ryan Harvey, and that version also included Tom Morello and Andy DeFranco. And there's been a few other versions of that if you check YouTube and Old Man Trump. So yeah, that's one I probably would have included. Try to think of what other anti-Trump songs, because there's a number that I've included on my website, and I do plan on doing an updated list on my website. But off the top of my head, I can't think of anything else I would have put on the list instead. So yeah, do you have any favorite anti-Trump songs that you think could be included on the list? Let me know in the comments. And if you want me to keep making videos like this, please like and subscribe. And also, you can check out my recently launched Ko-fi or Coffee. So that's ko-fi/ my epic soundtrack. And for a $5 membership, you'll get exclusive content. Like, for example, every day I review a different album that appears in the book, 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die. So once a week, one of those albums, so it's a randomly generated album that I review. One of those video reviews is going to be exclusively available for members. And there's other exclusive content already available. And Ko-fi or Ko-fi members get to also have a say in some of my other content as well. Like, for example, once a week, I'm going to start reviewing an album that doesn't appear in the book, and that's going to be selected by my members. So, yeah. So you can feel free to check that out. Feel free to check out the website, ongoinghistoryofprotestsongs.com. So thanks for watching, and please stay safe.